No trash. Lot of snow, lot of trash.
Yeah.
Okay, was this gonna be on the end?
No,
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 okay.
that's for you guys to look at. And for her to answer.
All right, roll call.
Did you say what day this was?
Yes, January 8, 2013, 7:06.
Okay, there we go. Mayor Lynn,
Present.
Councilmember Alexander. He is sick, he just got to the hospital with pneumonia. Councilmember Ayers.
Aye.
Councilmember Pearl. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Martin. Attorney Lord.
Here.
Police Moran.
Here.
Fire Robertson.
Here.
Street Bowles.
Here.
Mechanic Collins.
Here.
Park Pitts.
Here.
Cemetery Waymire.
Here.
Building Commissioner Pound.
Council meeting.
Okay. Sewer Olson
Here.
and Stacy Duke. I had Stacy down here as well. Sorry. That's okay.
Combined, we work together.
That's good.
All right, minutes for the prior meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from last month's meeting and the year-end meeting? Everybody get a copy of those email or get a chance to look over them? And do we have a motion to accept those as read?
I'll make the motion.
Motion Ayers,
I'll second.
second Pearl.
Councilmember Brown.
Aye.
Councilmember Martindale.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayers.
Aye.
Councilmember Pearl.
Aye.
All ayes.
Okay, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? New old business. Tom Leahy.
That was quick. I've got some handout stuff that I will make this brief, but I'd like to make reference to, you got a copy, Sue?
Yes. And if you want, I can go check his time.
No. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom Leahy. I'm a state conservation officer. I've been assigned in Sullivan County for, this will be my 28th year. And real quick, we've had some concerns. I have had some concerns, and my counterpart has fielded some concerns over your ordinance regarding ATV usage in the city. I just wanted to point out a few things that under your ordinance that may not be synonymous with the requirements under current state law under Title 14, which is one of the provisions that we're responsible for enforcement. Offer some solutions. I'm not an attorney, but I've been a policeman for 28 years. One of the things that obviously that we do, we enforce laws regarding anything regarding outdoor recreation, ATVs, boats, fishing, hunting, etc. Typically, if we have issues or questions regarding traffic law, we usually seek the opinion of some of the other officers that have that forte, as do the city, county officers. If they have any issues regarding the enforcement of ATVs, they usually come to us because this is typically what we do. But in a nutshell, after having looked at your ordinance, and I know I've talked to a couple of you here, and I've talked to Jesse and talked to a couple of the city guys, and one or two on the council here, and one on the Board of Public, one or two of them on the Board of Public Works. But I just wanted to throw this out. I don't want to argue the point. I just want to make it a point. And I've got your contact information, and I can put you in the hands of our chief legal counsel in Indianapolis, and you guys can go at it. I don't want to argue it. I just want to make my point. My stake in this is just that. I mean, we enforce the provisions of this article regarding off-road vehicles as we have since this article, or this article has been around, 35 years. The first page I gave you basically lists a simple map showing the legality of riding ATVs on county roads. state law allows you to ride an ATV on the non-traveled surface of the road. And I've given you copies of the statutes. You can read it and interpret it as you wish. But state law allows you to ride an ATV or an ORV, as it's defined under Title 14, on the non-traveled surface of the road, which is basically the berm, the side of the road. Unless, of course, the county allows their roads open to ATV usage. I mean, the statute's been pretty clear on that for years. There are a number of counties, as this map will show you, that allow ATV usage. That's clearly up to the counties. We currently, and I think our ordinance is in Sullivan County probably at least 10 years old, and it's pretty well synonymous with requirements under state law. They have to be registered. They have to have the minimum equipment requirements. They have to have a licensed driver. It's synonymous with that. But I did check a couple different things. Number one, none of the counties listed on your map here that do allow for ATV usage, they charge a separate fee for a permit, for a license, for an inspection, as such. Some of them are limited, some of them are restricted. But I did want to show you that throughout the state, some counties allow them, some counties don't. I know there are a number of small towns and municipalities that are entertaining the idea of golf carts and off-road vehicles. There's a lengthy history, but I will very simply state that golf carts were at one time listed under the definition of an off-road vehicle. They were specifically exempted as an off-road vehicle, I'm guessing probably about 8 years ago. And they're totally regulated by another set of state laws. My issue is with your ordinance as it relates to ATVs only, not golf carts, not saloon vehicles, just off-road vehicles. Okay. The off-road vehicle is defined under Title 14, and I believe that's the next page I've given you. It means motor-driven conveyance capable of cross-country travel without benefit of road, or immediately over land, water, snow, ice, marsh, swampland, or other natural terrain, and includes the following and excludes the following. There are a number of exemptions, as we're finding out, as a number of these recreational vehicles change. Some of them fit within the confines of the definition, some of them don't. Kind of like when PWCs and jet skis first came out, some of them really didn't fit the confines of the definition of watercraft, etc. But I know this hasn't changed, only with respect to it does specifically exempt golf carts. Okay? The most important thing that I've had questions about is under 1416.120, that would be page 6 of 11 up in the upper right-hand corner. Under 1416.120, about halfway, a little more than halfway down the page, it says an individual may not operate a vehicle required to be registered under this chapter upon a public highway, street, right-of-way, therefore on a public or private parking lot, not specifically designed except, number one, a vehicle may be operated on a public right-of-way adjacent to the travel part of the public highway except on a limited access highway, if there is sufficient width to operate at a reasonable distance off the road of the travel part, and in a manner so as not to endanger life or property. So once they're required to be registered, and the registering agency with an ATV is the Department of Natural Resources, always has been. Probably always will be, because title issues and things like that, that DMV will not get involved in that. But if you'll skip on down to subsection 3, just about 4 or 5 lines down, it says, notwithstanding this section, a vehicle may be operated on a highway in a county road system outside the corporate limits of a city or town if the highway is designated for this purpose by the county highway department having jurisdiction. And basically what that says is you can't ride them on the county roads outside of the berm unless the county highway opens their road system for ATV traffic. The following subsection, number 4, says, the law enforcement, disregard that. Flip over to page 7. And this is where I think is there's some confusion that's created. And I've spoken to Bob Hunley, the prosecuting attorney, about enforcing the provisions of our law, and it may conflict with the provisions of your city ordinance. And this is part of it. Halfway down to page 1416, 122, which is state statute allowing local or city ordinances. It says the city, county, or town may pass an ordinance regulating the operation of the vehicle if the ordinance meets substantially the minimum requirements of this chapter. However, the city cannot adopt an ordinance that does any of the following. Number 1, impose a fee for a license. I know there's fudge room for interpretation about what exactly a license means, but typically a license is something, and I pulled this off about a dozen different legal websites, and after having checked with our legal counsel in Indianapolis, without specifically saying, there's a bunch of different types of license. Obviously, a driver's license is an entitlement to drive. A fishing license is an entitlement to fish in public waters, hunting license, etc. But a license basically is a legal document giving official permission to do something. Okay, and I think that's going to create issues. The fact that you guys require a separate fee, because we get concerns from people that say, if I register my ATV pursuant to state law, why do I have to pay another fee to ride it within the city? And to be quite frank, I don't know how to answer that. I tell them the registration is good as long as that ordinance allows for ATV usage within the city. And I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. 10 years ago, maybe, I don't want to argue, but that's the first issue. The second one, it specifies accessory equipment to be carried on vehicles. If I read your ordinance correctly, your ordinance requires certain types of equipment on ATVs within the city that aren't required under state law, which is a specific prohibition on this ordinance. And 3, it requires a vehicle operator's license to possess, or a vehicle operator possess a driver's license, which is already required under this section 1416.120 as well as 924.11 while operating an off-road vehicle or snowmobile. I personally think has it been an issue in the past? I think Jesse's been on long enough, he could probably concur. And I bet you weren't the only one that asked me how many tickets you write to people in ATVs in town. Well, typically we don't patrol the town. I mean, have we written ATV tickets in Sullivan? Yes, if the situation dictates it. Not a bunch of them, but typically we want to make sure that they're registered, make sure that they're operated by a licensed operator, and have the minimum safety equipment that's required under state law. We've been directed not to enforce, let me rephrase that. Our general policy as a division is not to enforce any local ordinances, county or city, statewide, so we're not going to enforce that, and the burden of that would be upon the city. But here's my concern. Somebody's going to get a ticket for violating a provision of your city ordinance, which may be allowed or perfectly within the confines of state statute, or vice versa. Somebody has a registered machine here, they can operate it on the berm, non-traveled surface, within the city limits. The way we're reading this, and once again, I just talked to Bob Hunley and said, what kind of problem is this going to create? Am I reading this? Do I interpret this the same way you do? He concurred that he interpreted it the same. But he suggested, as did our chief legal counsel, the email, that I come to talk to you folks and to Mr. Hunley and try to work something out to make it work for both. But in all honesty, I don't know that you're going to get 100% compliance from from either direction the way it's going out, either with state law or the ordinances. You may not have but a handful of ATVs in town, you may have a plethora of them, I don't know. But it's gonna create problems. We haven't typically written a lot of them, but I can tell you this, every town or municipality within this county, as surrounding counties where the roads are open to ATV usage, we're getting more and more and more of a problem. Almost to the point where it's problematic. And I'm certain that Brian Kennett would echo that same issue. Towns Miram, Paxton, Shelburne, Hymera, Duggar, and those towns don't have ordinances allowing them. Does that make sense? So it's gonna become more problematic, and we're gonna be forced to deal with the situation we haven't really been faced with in the past.
Anybody have any questions or comments or concerns?
I mean, this one says outside the corporate limits, we're not trying to do anything outside the corporate limits. I mean, the one that he put the stars by.
Yeah, that says that the
Outside the corporate limits, I mean, we're not trying to, but I understand the other part over there on, Angela just needs to look at it and
But
talk to
that's,
everybody
you know,
and go
kind
from
of,
there.
I think our recommendation would be have Angela get with, if you wanna meet with the prosecutor, if you,
I'll just call Bob and visit with him. As a prosecutor, I don't think that this is his expertise, but I'll be glad to visit with him.
you know, and you can,
well, he's ultimately the one who's gonna be prosecuting the tickets that we write. And ultimately, under your ordinance, if they're not handled in-house, they'll be the ones prosecuting yours. But the provision where I put the star says, a vehicle may be operated on a highway in a county road system outside the corporate city limits. It's therefore, the city roads, and anything inside town or corporate city limits are off limits to ATVs.
yeah.
Unless the city adopts an ordinance.
And I know as far as, you know, the city council adopts an ordinance, and the state constitution states that the mayor enforces the ordinance. But that also questions, I mean, what do I enforce, you know? So there, I mean, there's I'm not a prosecutor, but yet the state says I'm supposed to enforce these laws. I mean, I still have questions on that as well. I just think, you know, talk with your chief legal counsel, you can get with them, and you can.
Well,
get with
one of the
prosecutor.
provisions I know I mentioned,
I mean, it sounds to
Scott.
me it's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It sounds to me it's a statewide issue, and I want to make that clear.
yes,
It's not just the city of Sullivan. It
there
looks like
are
there
other
could be some
cities
issues
and
statewide.
towns that have adopted similar ordinances, obviously. I mean, Jesse's done his homework, and they're modeled after other ordinances. There's some differences here and there, but I don't work those other counties.
Right,
I work
and I
here.
understand your concern.
And we're the
there
ones that get the
because
phone calls
I
and get
absolutely.
the issues, so. But there is a provision, for example, under 1416-120 that says you're not allowed to operate an ATV between the hours of half hour before sunset to half hour after sunrise within 100 foot of a dwelling house. Okay? So if somebody's riding an ATV in town, I see no prohibition against operating in the nighttime in your ordinance. And I'm fairly certain they're riding within 100 foot of a house. And then if the city police don't get the complaint on that, we're gonna get the complaint on that, and they're gonna say, there's a provision here, they can't ride within 100 foot of a house. You know what I'm saying? I think we can get it fixed, but I think it's gonna create enforcement issues for us, not just here, but other towns. Yes, sir.
If you enforce the law, that it's done on a state statute instead of the city,
If they,
We do, yes.
If he writes.
he doesn't write a
Him.
local ordinance.
so that would be you and the state police.
We have statutory authority to enforce local ordinances. Our department has given us the direction that we do not enforce. As with other state agencies, they don't enforce their own either county or city ordinances. But what's gonna happen, I can see, and I rattle off a dozen different examples to Jesse. You know, somebody calls me, I get there, and state law says you can't do this, and they're gonna go, well, county ordinance, or city ordinance says I can, and I'm gonna have to call him, or vice
It doesn't say
versa.
you can do that.
Do what?
It doesn't state that you can, all the ordinance basically state that you have to follow state law, and ours are more restricted. So if it says, the state law is you need car insurance, whether we say you need car insurance or not. You have to follow the state law and the city ordinance.
Yeah, see, the county ordinance also requires liability insurance on the county road system. There's nothing in here requiring liability insurance.
State.
I don't care, we don't enforce that part of the local ordinance since it's a county ordinance, but it's gonna, it would be nice if everybody was systematic. I just wanted to throw that out to you, because I see problems with it.
All right, yeah, if you could follow up, you know, with that. So.
And the biggest concern I got is the fee, the additional fee.
Which he is calling the
Inspection,
fee, right.
that's what I'd
Right.
asked you about.
Which we already discussed that, and I researched it and came to that conclusion. So we differ of opinions, is
I'm
all I'm
with
saying.
you, I mean,
Yeah.
you are our legal representation.
But we'll review and I'll discuss
Yeah,
some of their concerns with
So
it.
if I understand your ordinance correctly, I cannot ride an ATV that's properly registered with the state within the city limits unless it has the certificate of inspection. So if I'm operating one without this certificate of inspection, I'm in violation of your ordinance.
Right,
That's where the conflict lies.
right, and they have a different opinion, and if you ask 10 lawyers in this room, we all would have a different opinion. So we researched the information and came to the conclusion that we feel is suitable to our ordinance. And in saying that, I will look at the other issues that you.
It's challengeable. I got
And
the only first person
any
to
ordinance that we
challenge
have or
yeah.
put forward here is challengeable.
Okay. Yes. All right. Mr. Leahy?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
As far as department reports, Chief Moore.
For the month of December, the city police answered 151 calls. We currently have 2 of the 3 radar units installed in our cars that we got from the grant from the Wabash Valley Community Foundation. We have 2 officers that are going to training this week in Indianapolis for interrogation training. In December, the police department was involved in the candlelight vigil for as a department for the victims in Connecticut. With that being said, the city police is stepping up extra patrol for the schools, elementary, middle, and the high school. And I am going to start having my officers, when they don't have anything going on, swing by, do some walkthroughs through the school, get familiar with the school. That way, if we ever have any issues, we don't have to react. And we are planning on doing some active shooter training at our schools, and get our plan laid out for that to be prepared.
Any questions from the police? Okay, fire department, Chief Robertson.
In the month of December, we had 24 rescue fire calls, 46 ambulance calls, total of 70 calls. So far, everything else is going all right. We do have 1 truck that's down right now. We're supposed to get them worked on. Got a water leak on it. And we have 1 firefighter that's out right now. As you all know, Doug has had surgery, heart surgery, so he's gonna be out for a while. So
It was good to see him today, though.
good to see him today.
Up here
He's
City
out.
Hall.
He's out and about, but he's got a long road ahead of him. So that's all I got.
Right, and we mentioned that last week at the Board of Public Works meeting, that, you know, our thoughts and prayers were with Doug, and looks like everything's going good. So, you know, officially for the record, I'd just like to say that, you know, I think I can speak with the council, this whole city, we're behind him for a full recovery, 100%. And just to elaborate just a little bit on Chief Moore and Chief Robertson, with their department reports, I'd like to thank them for taking the time last week to go up to the school. I'd like to thank the school corporation for asking local law enforcement to come up. Because like we discussed, and Chief Moore touched upon this, it's good to have a map of what your school looks like, but to actually go in and be familiar with it. When you say there's an issue down in the art room, to know where the art room is when you walk in the door. Or, you know, that we've talked about if a team has to assemble outside to wait on other emergency personnel to get there, that's time you're losing inside the actual building, where if all the officers are familiar, they can go in at different levels. So I just think it's great, you know, that we're partnering with the school corporation, and I appreciate the city police and also Chief Robertson going up and meeting with the school corporation. So thank you for that service. street department for the final time this evening. This is the last time I say it, Mayor Bowles.
Okay. Past couple of weeks, basically, we've been had the snow and the trash. Kind of a couple weeks ago, all we had hit at one time. I got to thank Chris. You know, he come in, helped. He worked all day and about 10.5 hours comp. His guys came in, helped us on trash. Greg came down, helped us. It's about the only week we got it done. The street department, we had like 57.25 hours comp. Put down approximately 30, and past couple snowfalls, about 30 tons of salt. Mixing up sand a little bit, not very much. Try to get the roads cleared off. The trash, actually while we hauled up there, we used pickups, used dump trucks to pick up some of it because we had so much of it. And we'll get the last bit loaded out tomorrow probably. We filled about a dumpster and a third of trash other than the trash trucks. And Brandon and I went to Bloomington yesterday to pick up some blades. We have cutting edges for the snow plows. I told the mayor we'd replace one I thought in 5 years. Brandon said he thought it was 2. So we got 2 of those and they're supposed to have the other 2 in this week. And they'll be ready to go. And that's about it. Any questions?
Well, just as we said last week, excellent job, street department, and their assistants, their helpers outside the street department. Appreciate everybody working together as a team, clearing up the snow on the roads. Had a lot of good compliments. As I talked to you about the other day, did get a few more phone calls today, just asking for some assistance with some of the piles of snow in the square, which hopefully Mother Nature will help us take care of that with it warming up, and also with some of the rain I think we have in the forecast. So we can kind of continue getting those piles down uptown. We appreciate that.
But what are you supposed to do with it? Well, it just didn't happen this year. It's been that way forever.
Well, they were waiting, Scott, for you to come up. You're picking up.
I was too busy keeping my driveway clean, so it didn't get plowed in.
No, we're supposed to do that too. Trust me. I had a few residents let me know that we're supposed to come.
I was too busy cleaning my drive, so I didn't get stuck right there.
We did haul one pile off, and that was over here.
What are you supposed to do? You can't.
The one pile we hauled off over by as you go to the entrance to the alley with salt and furniture, and that was the people cleaned off smokes for the last pile of it off there. But we hauled it off, and it's like you have trouble actually finding some place to dump it without getting stuck.
This is a crazy thing I'm gonna say, but hell, I say crazy stuff all the time. I do. Why don't we push it up on the courthouse? Why not push it up on the No, I'm serious. Why not take your piles and put them up on the courthouse lawn?
That's off the record.
It don't matter to me.
I think years ago, they used to take some of it down and put it on the city parking lot.
Time already?
Right, but think about the man hours that it takes to move.
I understand that.
Okay, so if you just take your plows and you push it up on the courthouse lawn.
You said, well,
You central school, maybe.
No,
Once again, you're tying up manpower.
You're up there, all you do is take your plows and you push, you make your ramp.
Then the kids couldn't hang out there anymore.
I know it's crazy and hell to say, but they
Like
want
the
to be,
businesses would come outside.
but they want to be able to park.
They got their Christmas decorations still up over there.
Well, I don't know nothing about that. I'm just saying, if you want to complain about the piles of snow, shouldn't we, you can put it up there, or you cannot do nothing to it. That's just my little nutshell. Sorry.
Did we get, I should have noticed, did we take the Christmas decorations down at the
No,
square?
not yet.
No, I shouldn't.
too many piles of snow, but
That was on the schedule for this week.
Sweet, thank you. It wasn't in your report.
I already talked to them.
Okay, and while we're on the street department, I guess I might take this time to officially thank, Street Superintendent Bowles for his service to the city this past year. Tim's going to stay with us and continue to work with the city on the street department, but we appreciate what he did. I especially feel, being a former mayor and coming in this past year, he kind of understood, what it was like working for the street department, and also from the mayor's standpoint. So it was such an asset that he brought to the table with that, so we appreciate his service. And at this time, I'd like to officially announce our new street superintendent, Mr. Chris Waymeyer. Chris has worked with the city for, I think we declared about 20 years, and he's done an excellent job out there at the cemetery, and I feel that he'll continue. We can use him in a broader scope, you know, all over the entire city. You know, our goal at the beginning was to try to not necessarily consolidate departments, but to the inner workings, and Chris has done a great job, and I feel very strongly that he's going to be a big asset to the city, and he can operate equipment, and that's always great. You know, anytime you can utilize somebody that can do some of those things. So, officially, I ask for a round of applause. Welcome Chris Waymeyer. A round of applause just for you too, Tim. So, and you know, I spoke to Tim about this, and I feel like it's going to be a smooth transition between the two, and they've been working together. That'll officially take effect when we declare the date.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. That'll officially take effect.
Is he still at the cemetery duties there? Or?
When we get to the cemetery part,
I'm sorry.
But no, that's okay. Chris is going to continue temporarily with his cemetery duties, and we still have to discuss some of those things until we come to a final decision. But as of right now, he's going to do a little bit of both. We're probably going to have somebody come out from an administrative perspective out there, but trial and error, you know. That's what we've been doing since January 1st of last year. So he's going to continue as officially right now, still in that capacity. Mechanic, Mr. Collins.
Month of December, pretty busy. Trying to stay up with the oil changes, service work. Trying to help Tim whenever he needs me on snow removal. We went and picked up a couple of cutting edges yesterday. We did forget the bolts.
Did you
there.
put the clouds on the square? Was that you?
No.
Yeah, it was.
But we had a few issues with our trash truck. It's still under warranty. It's contacted Best Equipment. They're supposed to come down tomorrow between 11 and 12. Trying to figure out what's going on with it. It keeps kicking out relays and won't run up the trash. I don't know if it's from the heavy loads we've been hauling the last few weeks or what, but we'll hopefully get it figured out tomorrow. But other than that, just staying busy, trying to fill in wherever they need me at.
Thank you. And Parks Department, Superintendent Pitts. Can I call you Police Chief Pitts?
I've been called a lot of things. Things pretty quiet.
What was the best one you read?
Sue, don't tell us.
What was the best?
That's whisper.
Well, it wasn't, sir.
Yeah, I didn't figure it was. There might have been one letter in front of it.
That's my version. Things at the park's pretty quiet. The shelter house is being rented periodically. We'll take care of that. The downtown gym, or not the downtown gym, the elementary gym, I'm opening every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 o'clock till 1 o'clock for people to go in and walk. Been 6 to 10 people a day. They sign in when they go in to walk, so 6 to 10 people are utilizing it. No, it's free. I unlock it, turn the lights on for them, and then I go back at 1 o'clock or so and lock it up.
That'd be a good place for Doug to go every day.
I think that's where he's gonna go, yeah. So that's all I have.
As far as the water, do we get the water situation taken care of there?
Yes.
Remember there was a few people that said when they went in, the valve was what, in the gym or something?
It's inside
People
the
shut
gym
it off?
behind the bleachers, and it's a valve that you pull up to turn on, and we lock it open
Okay.
so it can't be shut off.
I know some groups that had used
So
the
when we
gym
have a
and said that
water
we
leak-
didn't have running water over there, and I said, well, we should, so I had some issues. Thanks for taking care of that.
The only other issue I had was the water was turned on there, but somebody turned all the water off at all the stools.
Who's this water phantom? What the headlines? Searching for water phantom?
And I don't know what to do about that, you know, I mean, there's not much you can do.
Olson, you gotta stay out of that central school. Okay, well, thank you.
Wasting water.
Cemetery report.
Well, for the month of December, we had 5 funeral services. We didn't sell any gray spaces. Took in 5 payment plans on gray spaces. We had 2 foundation orders and 1 donation. I had a total income of $4,476, and everything runs smooth. Cemetery.
Give me piles of snow out there.
Well, a few of them. I don't want it off the square either.
Bring it up. Tell everybody else does. Okay, and the building commissioner, he's in with the county council meeting right now, so, sewer department. We'll start
Which one?
with the plant.
Sorry. Anyway. Okay, for the sewer plant, we've had no exemptions on our monthly report to IDEM. I don't believe that's happened all year. We haven't had any exemptions all year. We disposed of all of our expired lab chemicals, in an environmentally friendly way. Grease aeration blowers and the North clarifier. We rotated our blowers, compressors weekly, checked our fluids and filters weekly. Worked on our effluent sampler, we got it working. We use our skid steer, we use the city skid steer to plow snow with the plant. Our bi-monthly mercury samples were taken to EC Labs. We ordered supplies and filters for blowers from Blue Book. We've had septic haulers on site to dump. Nothing, excuse me, nothing new with the pre-treatment program, but the CSO program, we have a meeting with Todd Trinkle from IDEM for a CSO audit on January 15th. He's gonna require a lot of information.
And it imparts to the Floyd Hunter and the sewer plant. I also want to thank them for working with the city through the past several years, doing the collections in the sewer plant. And speaking of smooth transitions, it's been a smooth transition. The city transitioning into taking back the collection system. So thank you for your service. And as a matter of fact, at the end of the year, I believe you guys saved us some money, and we had $5,000 left over.
Yeah.
That'll stay into the city account. So we really, really appreciate your efforts in watching the dollars for the city there.
Sure.
So thank you very much. And speaking of transitioning, at this time I'd like to officially, except this started I believe on January 1st, I'd like to officially welcome back to the city of Sullivan our former street superintendent. Several other labels, but Chris Olson. And Chris is going to come back and basically we're going to have it's not another department, it's still the sewer department, but he will be the superintendent of our sewer department, sewer works, whatever you want to call it. Collections, yeah. So he's very familiar with that. He's the map. That's right up here, so he understands where all our sewers are. So I guess we'll be handling to the public. We'll handle those phone calls here at City Hall. So if there's any issues with the collection system. So, but no, appreciate Chris coming back to us, and I look forward to working with them throughout the year. And so at this time, we'll give Mr. Chris Olson a round of applause. Tim, clap harder than that.
Well, he's already given me 10.5 hours comp time.
That's different, Chris.
Well, you didn't state that, and it's in the record. It just said Chris, so.
I've got Waymar down because I know
Oh,
what you're talking about.
So
Now,
have
see,
we had the collection?
She saved you.
Collection issues or any report for the first?
The only thing that we are gonna have to address is the lift station at the hospital up there. Now, when they put that in, EMC was in charge of it, and they approved it as they put it in. And they're vacuum pumps. Well, the problem you have with vacuum pumps, if you have any kind of grease, it's basically a vacuum pump is a clear water pump. It won't take anything to plug them up. So since then, since they put them in, they used to run about an hour every 3 weeks, because the only thing that was on it was the hospital, fitness center up over there. Well, since then, we've allowed Breckenridge and all of them to go on there, which is a 160-bed facility with both facilities. Well, it's full of grease. And grease is absolutely a no-no. Now, I've contacted them, and they've assured me that, and I've looked at their manifest, that, you know, they are pumping them out once a month. But anytime you have that much, you know, washing dishes, you're gonna get grease. And those vacuum pumps aren't gonna deal with it. So that's an issue that we're gonna look at down the road. That we're gonna have to do something with that lift station. Either work with them, and I don't know how to solve the problem because I've got it all over town. I mean, we've got the restaurants up north, you know, I know that for the most part, most of them have their pits pumped and stuff, but there's still gonna be grease, and it still builds up, so, but this lift station is gonna be nothing but a headache.
Well, just
So-
ask that you continue to get with me, and get with,
Yeah,
let's
so
get
we'll
together,
go up
let's-
there and meet with them
Yeah,
and
okay.
talk with them, see what they wanna do to resolve the situation, but,
I know we had grease issues at a few other places as well.
oh yeah, yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Sue?
Yeah, I have one. After coming this side on the railroad track,
Mhm.
on East Washington, that water that pools up, I think we talked about it before. You just carries that water up the railroad and it's slick. I understand the snow melts, but
Right.
that's there.
Right,
You go out there when it rains Thursday or Friday and
Right.
that'll be a river.
there's a drain there. There's a drain there somewhere, and I'll get
Something's
with
wrong.
Chris
I mean,
and Tim, and what happened was when they've redone those tracks so darn many times.
Yeah,
What they did, they piled a big bunch of asphalt on top of it at one time. But there's a drain that actually goes under those tracks, and we had it exposed, and it didn't do that for a long time. But we just need to take tobacco down there and just start.
Just that water going
scraping
up,
it off.
it's kinda dangerous, cause when you go up.
Oh, yeah, it
slide
has
over
been for
towards-
years, so.
Yeah, we went down one years
which
ago.
is-
Yeah.
Tried to find it.
Well, I think, yeah, when you first started, we went down there and tried to, but we couldn't find it then, but
There used to be one there.
I know there's a drain there.
When it really gets to raining, it runs, I mean, it's like a river.
And if we can't find it, we ought to just punch a new one underneath the tracks. I mean, we'd have to get permission from CSX to punch a new, 6-inch drain underneath the tracks, but for what the problems are causing, it'd be well worth the money to have something done. But yeah, somebody's gonna end up getting killed there, so. Because it does, it's just solid ice in the wintertime, and
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Anybody else? Okay, are there any citizens present tonight to address the council? No? Okay. Any council comments?
Yeah, I've got one. I've been stopped by several parents who are thrilled to see the police at the car wash and everywhere else.
Car wash in the
When-
mornings,
when-
buses
yeah, in the
out in the
mornings when the
afternoons?
school, yeah, when the schools are, when the kids are going to school and coming, getting out and stuff, the parents are thrilled to death.
It's funny because, I mean, I promise I didn't choreograph this, but last week I'd gone in, spoke with the principal there at the elementary school, and I just wanted to, basically let her know that the city police would be coming up and making sure it was all right, which I'm sure it would have been. Just wanted to touch base with her, and she also, congratulations to her, by the way, on her twins she just had. She was very pleased, and she'd had a lot of feedback from parents as well. And at that time, I'm sitting in the principal's office, and that was familiar with the principal's office. Not that one, though. But as I was in the principal's office, at that time, Sergeant Story just drove by, right at the time. So I said, "You mean like that?" And she said, "Yeah." So they are, the school corporation is very appreciative of the police department being up there, and I know parents are too. Had a couple mothers in almost tears, actually, come up. And that was a big deal. And also with the police and fire department, thank you for helping with the candlelight vigil. Also, for stopping traffic and for having a strong city presence up there. So. Yes, I was going to
I
mention.
didn't know if you were going to or not, but
Yeah, that's,
sorry, I just.
no, that's okay.
Get close.
And that's, because that wasn't the only
You did a better
one.
job.
Yeah, it's, I don't know what it is, and without getting into, you know, a lot of discussion about this, but it's obvious here, recently our community's been hit somewhat hard. It seems to have been hit with loss, and, you know, whether it's criminal issues, whether it's health issues, you know, and I don't know, and that's not what we're getting into, but, you know, one person I wanted to mention, you know, at least me personally, our thoughts and prayers are with Tanja Collins Hyatt. I know she's had a rough time. We have several city residents that are going through some health issues. You know, and our prayers continue to be with them. And somebody else, you know, I wanted to definitely lift up is Ron Stanley. And I don't know if any of you have Facebook, but I put something on Facebook the other night about Ron. That, you know, there's a guy that not only, like I said, they discussed local issues, but he did something about it. You know, there's a lot of us that are Monday morning quarterbacks throughout the city, but he actually, you know I had to say it, he took time to care. He really did. And not to be corny about it, but he did. You know, he not only cared about the city and discussed local issues, he was a 2-term city council person, so definitely want to recognize him. Wish you could recognize folks like that when they were here with us, but unfortunately in this situation it just seemed to creep up on me pretty fast. So, you know, and I know that all of you in this room and residents throughout the city are definitely mourning the loss of Ron Stanley. And when I went through the line, you know, I couldn't help but to tell his family that as a high school student, you know, when I started attending city council meetings, that was the group that inspired me, that really strongly inspired me. 2 of them are here with us right now, Becky White and Jean. But Jean Bonham was mayor at the time, and Neil Heap, and who else? Kelly Catlin served with you at the time. I mean, that was a great group. That was a time that the East Side Fire Station was put in. Section Street was really getting started, getting off the ground. I mean, that was a time of true community leaders. And so, you know, without saying any further, I join with the council and join with the city and remembering those folks that inspired some of the rest of us to get involved in local government. So appreciate your guys' service now, and we appreciate the service of Ron Stanley. So, having said that, are there any other council comments?
Just want to say thank you to the street department employees and all the other employees that helped out on the snow and stuff.
Hey, everybody helped great. Brandon come out.
Worked together.
Helped Brandon come out. He was out for hours and hours.
Appreciate it.
Just everybody did.
So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion. Tim, I gotta say, Chris knows when to turn the plow and it gets from the drive when you're standing out there.
I turned the plow the other way.
I know you did.
That's what he's talking about.
Shoveling, and here you come.
He might have turned
Covered me.
He looked like the